The anime begins by introducing us to our protagonist, Ryudo Kashima, an introverted boy who goes unnoticed at his school. He is in love with Runa Shirakawa, the most popular girl in his class, and knowing she is the most desired girl by all the boys at school. But everything changes when Runa herself approaches him to ask for a pen. Naturally, he is stunned and doesn't hesitate to lend her the item. While she writes her name on a piece of paper, Ryudo can't help but think about how the girl he likes spoke to him for the first time in his life, and although he knows she is very social with everyone, he feels happy he could have had even a brief interaction with her. A little later during recess, our protagonist meets with his friends Yusuke Jichi and Ren Nishina. The three of them talk about how their grades aren't the best, so they decide to come up with something that will motivate them to improve their scores. Yusuke and Ren come up with the brilliant idea that whoever gets the highest grades will be a master of the others, and as a consequence, those with lower grades must obey the winner's orders. But when Ryudo shows his, Yusuke and Ren are glad to see a score higher than him. Luckily for Ryudo, his friends decide to give him just one simple task: confess his feelings to the girl he likes. The protagonist is stunned by what his friends asked of him, as it's something extreme that he would never dare to do, but he has to do it because he made a promise to his friends and doesn't want to let them down. Ryudo leaves a note in Runa's locker, and when she finds it, she approaches him to ask about the note's purpose. At this, Ryudo becomes very nervous, so much so that he can't speak properly, but when his nerves finally subside, he is able to say the words he's always wanted to tell her: "I like you." Runa is initially shocked by his confession, but soon after, she shows a willingness to start a relationship with him. She's single and available and doesn't find him unpleasant. She asks him to walk her home to start something serious. Ryudo is beyond impressed, as he never imagined that the most popular girl in school would agree to go out with him, and since he doesn't want to waste this opportunity, he decides to walk her home. On the way back home, the protagonist feels happy to finally be dating the girl he likes, but he can't help overthinking the situation, wondering why she agreed to go out with him. Unable to quiet his mind, he directly asks Runa why she accepted to date him if she doesn't know him that well. She replies that she agreed because she thought it was sweet for someone to confidently confess their feelings, and even though she doesn't know him fully, she's sure that as they continue dating, she'll get to know him more deeply. Runa didn't just accept to go out with Ryudo because he confessed, but also because she finds him attractive, as she has her standards like not liking sweaty or overweight guys. She adds that she is 100% faithful because in all her relationships, she was always the loyal one, while her boyfriends would get bored of her and abandon her shortly after they started dating. This leaves our boy with doubts, since upon arriving at Runa's house, she invites him into her room, and to his great surprise, she does not hesitate to undress to prepare to be taken. Faced with this, the boy can't help but think that the girl is quite deluded and innocent, since she can't just give her body to anyone on the first day just like that. She tells him that she does it to satisfy the needs of whoever her boyfriend is, in this case him. She does it so that her boyfriend won't abandon her and be unfaithful to her, because she has the thought that as a woman, she should give herself to her boyfriend so that he won't use her, and thus won't abandon or betray her. Ryudo can't help but think about how many guys took advantage of Runa for having that thought, and since he is not like those guys, he lets her know that there is no need for her to give herself to him so quickly, since he wants to be serious with her, and he wouldn't mind waiting for the right time for her to give herself to him when she wants to, not when he wants to. After this, the girl is impressed by the boy's immense sincerity, and since she had never experienced having such an honest and kind boyfriend like Ryudo, she feels happy to have him as her boyfriend. She lets him know that she will fully commit to him when she feels ready and in love with him, and that will happen when she stops focusing on his appearance and becomes solely interested in the kind of person he is. After saying this, she bids him farewell, saying, "Goodbye, dear boyfriend." The protagonist says goodbye to her, feeling very happy, knowing he achieved the impossible, dating the most popular girl in school. Although his happiness would have been even greater if he had accepted that she was willing to give herself to him on the first day, even though he knows that would be wrong. On a new day, Runa arrives late to class, and once she settles into her seat, she greets the protagonist by blowing him a kiss from afar, which makes him more than happy. Later, the boy feels obligated to tell his friends that he's officially dating Runa. His friends see this as a bad thing for Ryudo, because they know Runa is the most popular girl in school, and knowing her history with guys who pursued her, the protagonist's friends believe that she will lead him on, use him, and eventually abandon him. Ryudo doesn't think this is the case, as he sees Runa as a simple and sincere girl who would never do anything to hurt him. Yusuke and Ren disagree with the protagonist's opinion, but they still support him and let him know they will be there for him when he suffers because of Runa. Continuing with their relationship, the boy can't help but feel intimidated by everyone at school because they look at him poorly for being with the most popular girl. The gaze that intimidates Ryudo the most is that of Runa's best friend, Nicole Yamana. Due to Nicole's intense stare, the protagonist feels the need to talk privately with Runa. In this conversation, he asks her to be more discreet because he doesn't want everyone to know they're dating. Ryuna agrees and lets him know that the only person she talked about their relationship is Nicole. Ryuta doesn't mind this since he also told his friends about it. With this clarified, the boy proposes to the girl that they keep their relationship a secret, where the only times they'll meet for a date will be on weekends. She agrees, and on Friday night, she calls the boy through a video call to ask him what they'll do on their first date. He first suggests going to the movies, but since he hasn't been to the movies in a while, he suggests doing something she wants instead, because he wants to get to know her better and make it clear that he wants something serious with her. Ryuna feels touched by this as no guy had ever asked her what she wanted to do on a date. That's why she feels so happy having a boyfriend like Ryudo. When Saturday's date arrives, Ryuna doesn't hesitate to take the boy to the mall to be her companion in clothing stores. She tries on and buys several outfits, and at the end of the date, the two have lunch together. She couldn't help but notice that Ryudo seemed uninterested in the clothing stores, so she asks him if he had a good time during the date. He replies that he did, but Ryuna doesn't believe this yes. Faced with this, the boy feels obligated to clarify that he wasn't focusing on the clothing stores or the clothes, but on her because he enjoyed seeing her happy while buying clothes, and he explains that if seeing her happy makes him happy. These words make Ryuna blush as no boy had ever said such sweet things to her. The next day, the protagonist is worried because Ryuna isn't answering his messages, and to make things worse, on Monday at school, he notices that she's talking to other boys, and when he gets home, she still hasn't replied to his messages. This leaves him feeling down because he has a hunch that Ryuna wants to break up with him. Suddenly, she sends him a message asking him to meet her at the park near the train station. He replies that he's on his way, and when he arrives, he prepares for the worst. To his surprise, the girl doesn't reject him. Instead, she gives him a phone case similar to hers because she wants to have something to share with him. The protagonist's heart melts with this gesture from Ryuna, and he thanks her in a sweet way, which relieves Ryuna, as she had briefly thought he didn't want to accept her gift. It turns out that the first thing the boy did when he received Ryuna's gift was to go quiet with a cold and vacant look in his eyes. Ryudo explains that his initial reaction to her gift was because he thought she was going to break up with him, and this thought has been with him ever since he was rejected by his classmate, Maria Kuros, in his childhood. Curiously, and by pure coincidence, this girl appears the next day as the new student at school. Maria's arrival at the school takes the protagonist by surprise as he believes it will be a problem to have two girls he's interested in the same class. That's why he decides to keep Maria as far away as possible from his personal space, but this becomes complicated when the teacher assigns Maria the seat next to him. When she sees him face to face, she recognizes him and doesn't hesitate to tell him that she wants to get along with him. To this, Ryuta responds that he also wants to get along with her, but from a distance. Later, after class, Nicole intercepts the boy and invites him to the cafe to talk about something important. Fearful, he accepts the invitation. At the cafe, Nicole is straightforward with Ryudo and tells him that Runa's birthday is approaching and she expects him to give her a present since he is her boyfriend after all. The protagonist had no idea about this, which completely angers Nicole because she thinks the boy is playing with her best friend. But he lets her know that he is serious about his relationship with Runa, as he wants to make her happy no matter what. That's why he asks for advice on giving the perfect gift for her birthday. Hearing this, Nicole decides to trust him for the first time and sets out to recommend the perfect gift for Runa. While the two are talking, a mysterious person takes a picture of them and sends it to the group chat. When Runa sees this, she doesn't hesitate to scold the boy for going on a date with her best friend. To this, the boy explains that it wasn't a date, but a meeting to talk about her birthday because he wants to celebrate it in a special way. This explanation reassures Runa, and she says goodbye to Ryudo without further issues. On Runa's birthday, the boy takes her to Harajuku, an area where there are several shops selling bubble tea. He chose this place because, thanks to Nicole, he found out that Runa is very fond of bubble tea. Throughout the day, the couple visits several shops in search of the perfect bubble tea, and at one point, she tries one that, according to her, is the perfect tea. Runa shares her tea with the boy, and he can't help but turn as red as a tomato when he tries it, as drinking from the same cup is considered an indirect kiss. After this, the day is about to end, and Ryudo reveals something embarrassing to Runa. He confesses that besides the outing to Harajuku, he had planned to buy her a gift to top off her birthday, but he couldn't do it because he didn't have enough money. Hearing this, Runa tells him not to worry, as this day was very special for her, and no boy had ever gone to such lengths to make her as happy as he did. That's why Runa is content with her perfect physical gift being the map Ryudo has been carrying all day. The next day at school, the protagonist finds himself in a compromising and delicate situation. Maria approaches him little by little, wanting to try something with him as she regrets rejecting him in elementary school. She never truly wanted to reject him. She was just afraid of being in a relationship because she didn't understand how they worked. Now that she knows, she wants to give it a try with him. Ryudo struggles internally with his feelings, but being a loyal and honest boy, he tells Maria that he can't date her because he's already in a relationship. Maria is surprised and asks for the name of his partner, but the boy refuses to give it, as he and Runa had agreed to keep their relationship a secret. As he leaves the classroom, Ryudo sees Runa entering a room with a blonde boy. The boy decides to spy on them and sees the blonde guy confessing to Runa. The protagonist thinks his girlfriend is going to betray him and be unfaithful, but to his surprise, she rejects the blonde boy because she's already in a relationship. The blonde boy then asks Runa for her boyfriend's name, but she doesn't reveal it, as she doesn't want to put the boy in an awkward position. The blonde boy laughs at the situation, assuming Runa is hiding her boyfriend's name because he's probably a loser. Runa won't allow him to talk about Ryuto that way, so she defends him, saying her boyfriend is no loser, and the only reason she's keeping his name secret is because he asked her to. This leaves the protagonist stunned because he always thought Runa was ashamed of dating him, when in reality it was him who was ashamed of dating Runa. Understanding this later on, when Maria tells him several negative rumors about Runa, Ryudo refuses to let her talk about his girlfriend that way. That's why, in front of everyone, he reveals that he is Runa's boyfriend, which leaves everyone completely shocked. Nobody believes that Ryudo is Runa's boyfriend. That's why Runa herself confirms to everyone that she's dating him, and only then do they believe the words of our protagonist. All the boys feel envious of Ryudo, while Maria can't help but feel overshadowed and betrayed. She decides to run out of the classroom, and the boy follows her to talk. He tells her that he doesn't want to have problems with anyone, so he asks her to calm down and not take his relationship as something against her. In response, Maria reveals that the fact that he is dating Runa affects her deeply because she is actually Runa's twin sister. As her sister, she doesn't intend to let Runa steal her things or people, including Ryudo. He doesn't believe Maria's words because it's hard for him to accept that she is Runa's sister. In response, Maria confesses that they are half-sisters, and during her childhood, she suffered a lot because of Runa. Maria was always an introverted girl who was constantly overshadowed by Runa, who was and still is an energetic and extroverted girl. Despite trying to be kinder to others, people always preferred Runa over her, which made Maria so upset that she did horrible things. In this case, Maria's hatred for Runa led her to invent several rumors about her spread around the school to tarnish Runa's reputation. In response, Ryudo tells Maria that those rumors didn't do any harm because he knows what kind of person Runa is. The boy can't let Maria continue to spread hate throughout the school because if she does, she will only make enemies and become bitter. That's why he advises her to just be herself and not fight against Runa or any other girl, as eventually she'll find her ideal guy without needing to spread rumors or do harmful things. These words stay with Maria, but can't help but feel bad because her hatred turned her into her worst self. Ironically, she doesn't just feel bad about this, but also because her feelings for Ryudo never went away. On a new school day, the protagonist expects the other students to tease him for confessing that he's dating Runa, but to his surprise, nobody bothers him and everything remains the same. After classes, the two have a mini-date where they talk about their hobbies. The boy mentions that his only hobby is watching videos of a well-known gamer named Keikenzumi. Ryudo gets so excited talking about Keikenzumi that it leaves Runa completely stunned, as she's never seen him talk so much and with such passion. Because of this, she tells him that she wants to get to know him better, and what better way to do that than by watching a Keikenzumi video together. He wants to try kissing her on the lips, but since he doesn't know how to take that step, he asks his friends for help. Unfortunately, Yusuke and Ren have no experience getting close to girls, so they are completely frozen by Ryudo's request for help. The next day, the boy decides to invite Runa to Ueno Park for a date. He chose this place because he imagines he'll be able to hold her hand when she stumbles at the park's pier by pure coincidence. Ironically, when the day of the date arrives, Runa stumbles just as the protagonist had imagined, but to his bad luck, she doesn't fall to the ground. Instead, she stays on her feet and gets into one of the park's boats. This leaves the boy disheartened as his chance to hold Runa's hand slips away. Because of this, Ryudo can't help but appear serious and downcast in front of Runa, and when she notices, she asks him if something's wrong. He lies and says that nothing is wrong. He tells her that what's really going on is that he really wants to ride the boat with her again. She gets excited and agrees, and in this new attempt for our protagonist to hold his girl's hand, he succeeds and she is more than happy with his gesture. She reveals to him that she had wanted to hold his hand for some time and was surprised that he wanted to do the same. As a result of this, she doesn't hesitate to give him a passionate kiss, as she not only wants to hold his hand from now on, but also wants to take things further physically with him. In this way, the two end the date walking home hand in hand, something that for the boy feels like pure bliss because not only did he get to hold Runa's hand, but he was also able to kiss her. On a new day, our protagonist commits to giving English lessons to Runa since she has low grades in that subject. Thanks to the boy's help, Runa manages to get better grades in English, and because of this, she'll be able to enjoy summer vacation with Ryudo. Maria, on the other hand, can't help but feel envious of Runa, so she doesn't hesitate to ask the boy to also give her English lessons. In response, the boy refuses, saying he only tutors his girlfriend. He also suggests that his friends could teach her English, but Maria doesn't want their help. She wants Ryudo's. She asks for his number, and the boy gives it to her out of courtesy, though he doesn't plan on messaging her at all. The next day, Ryudo and Runa head to the beach to enjoy a weekend together. They have a great time enjoying the sun, playing in the sea, eating, and enjoying each other's company. At one point, the boy compliments Runa on her swimsuit, making her happy. She's glad he likes it because, as crazy as it sounds, she spent the whole afternoon with Nickel picking out the perfect swimsuit for the occasion. Besides that, Nickel also painted her nails in colors that perfectly matched the swimsuit. As Runa continues talking, the sky suddenly clouds over and a big storm hits. Due to this, our protagonists are forced to rent a room to spend the night. The funny thing is that the boy gets really nervous, knowing he'll have to share a room with his girlfriend and thinking that this night, he'll be closer to Runa than ever. He starts working out. When she sees him, she's impressed since she didn't know Ryudo liked to exercise. She asks to see his body, and this makes him uncomfortable, so he decides to take a bath in the hot springs. After this, the two get ready for bed. Their beds are right next to each other, making it hard for the protagonist to fall asleep, knowing the girl of his dream is beside him. Runa notices that he can't sleep, so she proposes something, being closer. She suggested this because ever since she kissed him on the Ueno Park boat, she couldn't stop feeling the need to be closer to him. She didn't want to make him wait long to kiss or do more. In response, Ryudo tells her he wouldn't mind waiting as long as necessary for her to be ready to take the next step physically because his love for her is so great that he doesn't care about time. She's touched by his words and agrees to wait for the right moment to take that next step. Although at this moment she feels the need for some closeness, so she asks Ryudo for a hug and he doesn't hesitate to give her one. In this way, they share their first hug, and as both feel great comfort being close to each other, they fall asleep holding hands. The next day, the protagonist walks Runa home and then rushes back home as quickly as he can as he didn't sleep all the previous night. Suddenly, Nickel intercepts him to have a serious talk. She's aware of his relationship with her best friend, and that's why she reveals something crucial to him. She tells him that Runa is caught in a curse called the 2-month curse, where her ex-boyfriends always abandoned or betrayed her after 2 months. Because of this, Runa has become paranoid and doesn't believe she can make it to 2 months with any guy. After revealing this, Nickel asks Ryudo seriously if he plans to betray or abandon Runa. In response, the boy firmly says no, as he's serious about Runa, and there's no way he would ever betray or abandon her because she means the world to him. These words greatly reassure Nickel, so she changes her view of him. Later, Ryudo receives a call from Maria, and when he answers, he's surprised to hear Runa's voice. It turns out that Maria is pretending to be Runa. On the call, Maria asks the protagonist to come to school because she needs to talk to him urgently. When he arrives at school, he finds Maria dressed as Runa, but he doesn't notice the difference, so he believes it's Runa. Maria asks the boy to take the next step physically, which surprises him because the night before, Runa had told him she would wait for the right moment to do that. Since the boy believes the girl in front of him is Runa, he decides to accept her request and agrees to the close physical contact she desires so much. When she approaches and hugs him, Ryudo realizes that this hug isn't the same as the one Runa gave him the previous night, and thanks to this, he realizes that the girl in front of him is not his girlfriend. Analyzing the situation, the boy figures out that this girl is Maria, and to clarify the whole problem, he asks her why she dressed up as Runa. Maria responds that she did it because she wants to be close to him, as she's in love with him. She's willing to do anything to get his attention, even going so far as to dress up as her twin sister. Ryudo doesn't understand how Maria could go to such extremes, and this is when the girl explains that she did all of this because she can't get him out of her mind and heart. She wants to have him all to herself as her love is so strong that she can't bear to see him with someone else. After confessing her feelings, Maria breaks down crying uncontrollably, knowing that Ryudo will never go out with her. The next day at school, a photo of Maria and Ryudo together causes controversy in the boys' class, painting him as a cheater in front of all his classmates. The protagonist believes Maria took the photo, so he confronts her face to face. She clarifies that she didn't take the picture as, firstly, she couldn't have done it while standing next to him. Secondly, even if she could have, she wouldn't have done it after being rejected by him. This explanation leaves the boy somewhat relieved, but he still needs to find out who's responsible for the photo. Unfortunately for Ryudo, Runa sees him leaving with Maria, and since she's aware of the picture and the rumor that spread throughout the school about the boy's infidelity, she can't help but cry after seeing with her own eyes that Ryudo is hiding something with Maria. Runa runs off devastated, and when he tries to follow her, Nickel slaps him. making him understand that Runa doesn't want anything more to do with him. Days go by, and Ryudo and Runa's relationship seems to have ended, as she doesn't respond to any of his messages. To make matters worse, the protagonist's friends send him a picture of Runa hugging an older man and warn him that the girl is cheating on him. This is what gives Ryudo the courage to clear things up with Runa. When he visits the place in the picture called Luna Marine, he spots the older man from the photo, and when the latter notices him, he approaches to introduce himself. The man gives him a business card with his name on it, Mao Kuros, who turns out to be none other than Runa's uncle. This leaves Ryudo completely at ease, knowing that Runa hadn't cheated on him during their time apart. The boy approaches Runa to clear things up, explaining that he never had any bad intentions with Maria, as it was all a misunderstanding. He was only consoling her after rejecting her. In response, Runa believes him without a second thought, as she knows Ryudo isn't like other boys. In this particular case, she's glad he was there to comfort Maria, as she's her sister after all. Thanks to this conversation, the protagonist feels greatly relieved after mending his relationship with Runa, but there's still something that doesn't add up. He doesn't understand why she didn't reply to any of the messages he sent during this time, and thinking it's because she was mad at him, he asks her. She responds that she didn't reply because her phone broke the day she saw him with Maria, and only just now did she get it repaired. Because of this, she was out of contact with him, but now that she's with him in person, she doesn't hesitate to take his hand and let him know that they're still a couple despite everything. Later, the girl takes Ryudo to her house and suggests something unusual. She proposes that he stay there for the entire summer so they can spend the summer vacation together. After thinking it over more than once, the boy accepts. In this way, Ryudo and Runa spend their vacation together working at her uncle's store, which is none other than Luna Marine. During breaks, the protagonist takes time to catch up on his studies, as he wants to study hard to get into a good university. This catches Runa's attention because she believes he'll be the smartest boyfriend she's ever had. In contrast to him, she has no motivation to enter a university, as her greatest wish was to find the ideal guy to start a family with, and since she already found him, she feels like she's won the game of life. Hearing this, Ryudo feels both happy and nervous, as he never thought Runa would fall so deeply in love with him that she already sees him as her future husband. Because of this, he doesn't hesitate to study with even more dedication, knowing that in the future, he'll have a wife and children to support. Ironically, this future is closer than he thinks, as later on, he and Runa prepare dinner together, and she can't help but think they look like a married couple, something that makes the boy even more nervous. However, he's glad Runa thinks this way, as it reassures him that their relationship will be long-lasting, if not eternal. In another scene, we see Maria's mother notifying her that Seo, Runa's grandmother, invited them both to spend the holidays at her house. Seo told them they can stay at her house for the vacation since the family has grown due to Runa and Ryudo's visit. Upon hearing this, Maria feels a heavy weight in her heart, and as she doesn't want to share the same space with her sister and the boys she likes, she decides to decline Seo's invitation. When Seo informs Runa about this, she becomes sad because she hasn't seen Maria in a while and was hoping to see her at least during this vacation, as she wants to resolve the issues with her. Ever since they were little, the two of them were very different, but that didn't stop them from getting along. However, since Maria transferred to Runa's school, the latter couldn't recognize her at first, and when she did, Maria didn't want any contact with her. For this reason, Runa tells Ryudo that she will work hard to reconcile with Maria, starting by approaching her not as a sister, but as a friend. Afterward, Mao suddenly arrives to give Runa her cell phone, which has now been repaired. The girl is so happy about this, and the first thing she does is check her friend's messages. After that, she starts recording short videos with her boyfriend to keep up with internet trends. On a new day, Mao pays Ryudo for his work at the Luna Marine store. At first, the boy doesn't want to accept the money from Mao, as he worked without expecting anything in return, but Mao forces him to take it, advising him that he can use it to buy Runa a gift tonight at the summer festival, since they will be celebrating 2 months of dating. With this in mind, the boy searches everywhere for the perfect gift for Runa on this special day, but can't find anything. Ironically, it's Runa who surprises the boy by dressing in a yukata, which leaves him more than impressed and excited. When night falls, the couple attends the summer festival and has a great time playing festival games and eating caramel apples. For Ryudo, all of this is new, and he's glad to experience new things with his girlfriend. Runa, on the other hand, becomes very sad because she can't stand the fact that none of this is new for her, as she's already done all these things with her exes. Because of this, the girl starts crying uncontrollably, wishing she could lose her memory to experience new things with Ryudo. In response, the boy doesn't hesitate to calm her down, telling her that he doesn't care if she's already done outings like this with her exes. What matters to him is that she enjoys being with him while they're together, regardless of where they go or what they do. To further comfort her, Ryudo reminds her that he hasn't forgotten that today marks 2 months of them dating, and as is tradition, he owes her a gift. The boy gives her a moonstone ring, which makes Runa extremely happy as it's a sweet gesture that her boyfriend remembered how much she loves these kinds of gifts. After putting the ring on her, fireworks start to appear in front of them, and with a great view, Runa feels so happy that she doesn't hesitate to say, "I love you" to Ryudo. In response, the boy says, "I love you too," and with the mood between them so intense, they end up sharing a sweet and passionate kiss. On a new day at school, Runa tries to begin her plan to befriend Maria. Unfortunately, the latter shows no interest in wanting to be close to her sister. When Ryudo notices this, he doesn't hesitate to ask his friends for a small favor to cheer Runa up after being rejected by Maria. The protagonist asks his friends to join him this Saturday for a fun day with Runa and her friends. Although the boys are initially confused, they eventually accept the boys' invitation. So on Saturday, Ryudo, Yusuke, and Ren meet with Runa, Nicole, and a new girl, Akari, who is another one of Runa's friends. Akari seems interested in Ren as she approaches him after recognizing him as a classmate from the previous year. Back to the main event, the group of friends get straight to the point and decide to prepare for a real-life weapons war, obviously with fake weapons. When the game begins, the first to be eliminated is Ren, followed by Yusuke and Akari, and finally our protagonist, who sacrifices himself to save Runa. She and Nicole are the only ones left standing, so they must face each other in a one-on-one duel. In this showdown, Runa wins because Nicole runs out of ammo while trying to defeat her best friend. This wasn't Nicole's only problem. She also noticed that her nails were getting in the way when pulling the trigger, so she cuts them and tries pulling the trigger again in a rematch. Naturally, Nicole now emerges as the winner, as no one can match her great technique and power. Later, the group of friends takes a break from the gun game to enjoy a cold drink at a cafe. In addition to resting, the group starts talking about their passions. Yusuke talks about the gun game as he is very passionate about the world of firearms games. After this, Ryudo feels that Yusuke went overboard talking about his interests, thinking he came across as a total geek in front of the girls. To our boys' surprise, the girls are geeks too. Akari is a huge fan of a K-pop group, and since she really likes the band called Vanilla Voice, she starts talking passionately about them, completely capturing the boys' attention, especially Yusuke's. Nicole, on the other hand, is passionate about nails, and since she wants to be a manicurist when she grows up, she talks at length about everything she knows about the world of nails and their various styles. The only one who isn't a geek about anything is Runa, as she has no particular interest or passion that drives her crazy. In response to this, Nicole reminds her that she does have a passion for something, or rather for someone, Ryudo. Hearing this, Runa blushes, knowing her friend is right. After this long conversation, Nicole and Akari say goodbye to everyone, and then Yusuke and Ren leave too. At the end of the day, our protagonists are left alone, and since they don't want to waste this moment together, they decide to have an impromptu date. During the date, they ride the Ferris wheel, and as they admire the beautiful view from the top, they move closer to each other and share a kiss. After this, Runa confesses to Ryudo that she is madly in love with him and doesn't intend to leave him, as she already envisions herself having a family with him. This makes the boy very happy, and since he feels the same way about her, he decides to work hard studying so he can get into university and become a good father and husband for Runa. Unfortunately, things will get complicated for him, as by sheer coincidence, Maria decides to attend the same English academy as the boy. As a result, he doesn't hesitate to hide to avoid her, and when he sneaks out to the exit, he's intercepted by a classmate from the academy. His classmate is Shugo Sekiya, who has been attending the English academy for some time, and when he saw Ryudo running away from the new student Maria, he asks for an explanation. The protagonist explains that Maria is a girl who is madly in love with him, and since he already has a girlfriend to whom he promised not to have any contact with Maria, he's keeping his promise by avoiding her. Shugo understands the boy's situation and empathizes with him, even offering to help him hide from Maria in the upcoming academy classes. On a new day, the high school requires students to volunteer to help prepare for this year's cultural festival. No one seems interested in helping, except for Maria. When she volunteers to help prepare for the festival, Runa does the same, as she just found the perfect excuse to get closer to Maria and become her friend. In addition to Runa, Akira also joins the team, as she wants to help prepare for the cultural festival as well. Akira insists that Nicole join, but she neither wants to nor can. That's why Ryudo decides to join in Nicole's place, and to avoid being the only boy in the group, he forces Yusuke to join too, as this will help him get closer to Akira. A little later, based on the students chosen to organize the cultural festival, two groups are formed. The first one consists of Yusuke and Akari, and the second of Maria, Runa, and our protagonist. The latter two can't help but feel uncomfortable being in the same group. To try and break the tension, Runa asks Maria about her interests and passions. Maria replies that she likes watching videos of gamers and streamers. With this in mind, Runa thinks she knows the topic, so she talks about the videos she likes. But this only repels Maria, as she's not familiar with the videos Runa is talking about. That's why Ryudo steps in to talk about his favorite gamer, Keiken. To his surprise, Maria knows this gamer and watches his videos. This gives the protagonist a chance to learn more about Maria and get closer to her. When Runa notices this, Ryudo decides to step back, realizing that he got carried away talking with Maria. The next day, things remain the same as Runa and Maria each bring different flyer designs for the cultural festival, and since they can't decide which is better, they leave the final decision to Ryudo. The boy thinks Maria's flyer is better, but not wanting to hurt his girlfriend's feelings, he doesn't choose either flyer. As a result, Ryudo thinks that Maria and Runa will never get along, but this perception changes hours later when he runs into Maria on the way home. During their conversation, Maria reveals that the main reason she transferred to the school in the first place was to surprise Runa, as she knows her sister loves surprises. Maria regrets treating Runa poorly all this time and hopes to reconcile with her as soon as possible, as she has completely gotten over her feelings for Ryudo. Thanks to this, Ryudo understands that both sisters share the same desire to reunite like when they were younger, but neither dares to take the first step. While Runa tries to get closer to Maria with irrelevant questions in an attempt to befriend her, Maria has trouble expressing her feelings, which prevents her from telling Runa that she wants to be her twin sister again. Before the cultural festival, the sports festival begins. This is an event where the most popular students participate in track races. Naturally, Runa takes part, and since she wants her boyfriend to participate too, she grabs his hand and together they win the race. Afterward, Runa and Maria's mother shows up and doesn't hesitate to congratulate Runa for winning the race. Maria sees this from a distance and unable to bear seeing her mother with Runa, she storms off quite upset. When their mother asks about Maria, no one sees her anywhere. So Ryudo and Runa decide to go look for her. Ryudo quickly finds her on the school rooftop and lets her know that their mother is looking for her. Maria refuses to go with her mother and tells Ryudo to leave her alone. The boy has no intention of doing that because he wants to be kind to her and doesn't want to see her sad. In response, Maria gets emotional over his kindness and reveals that she's still in love with him. She doesn't care if he rejects her again, she just wants him to know that she can like him without them being a couple, as that is her right. Runa, overhearing this from the shadows, can't help but feel bad knowing that her sister still has feelings for her boyfriend. This feeling worsens the next day when Ryudo sincerely and directly decides to choose Maria's flyer over hers. This leaves Runa somewhat bewildered, as she starts to believe that sometimes Ryudo isn't being honest with her, preferring to lie to make her happy rather than tell her a truth that might make her sad. After this, Runa can't help but feel that she isn't enough for Ryudo, since she doesn't share the same interests as him, unlike Maria, who has more in common with him. This leads Runa to want to end her relationship with Ryudo, as they are complete opposites. She tells him that she won't be replying to his messages for a while, and after saying this, she runs out of the school in tears, which Ryudo takes as the end of their relationship. In the following days, Ryudo works alone on the flyers for the cultural festival, as neither Maria nor Runa show any signs of life. Luckily for him, after completing his work, he spots Runa and decides to spy on her. He overhears her talking to someone and, overthinking the situation, assumes it's a guy. This is later confirmed when Akira tells him that Runa is dating a college guy, as she saw them together while out shopping. Upon learning this, the protagonist immediately asks Shugo for help to uncover the identity of Runa's secret boyfriend. On the day of the cultural festival, Ryudo brings Shugo to his school, and together they set out to find Runa's secret lover. Ironically, this lover turns out to be none other than Shugo himself, as Akira identifies him as the guy she saw with Runa the other day. This catches Ryudo off guard, as he had no idea his academy classmate would betray him like this. He demands an explanation. Shugo, having nothing to hide, reveals to Ryudo that he's not Runa's lover or anything of the sort. They simply met to talk about Nicole. It turns out that Shugo is Nicole's ex-boyfriend, which is why he met with Runa to discuss her. Shugo admits he made mistakes when he dated Nicole in high school, and he doesn't believe he can win her back now despite wanting to. With this, Ryudo understands the situation better and is relieved to know Shugo isn't Runa's lover. Ryudo doesn't hesitate to offer advice, telling Shugo not to fear rejection from Nicole, because she likely feels the same, and if they see each other again, their relationship might blossom once more. This advice leaves Shugo perplexed, as he had no idea Ryudo was such an expert with girls. Suddenly, Yusuke and Ren interrupt Ryudo's conversation to warn him that Runa and Nicole are in trouble. It turns out that two rude guys are harassing the girls, trying to force them into doing something they don't want to do. Fortunately, the boys arrive just in time to rescue them. Shugo steps in and takes Nicole by the hand, declaring himself her boyfriend. Nicole is moved by this, as she never expected her ex-boyfriend to show up so suddenly to rescue her and make her feel safe in his arms again. This scene is witnessed by Ryudo and his friends, which inspires Yusuke to confess his feelings to Akari. She coldly rejects him, saying that he can't confess to her without even getting to know her properly. To her, love isn't about taking a chance with random people and hoping someone accepts, but rather about being sure that you want to be with that special person because you enjoy being with them and want to build a future together. After saying this, Akari walks away, leaving Yusuke completely devastated by her harsh and cold rejection. This makes Yusuke think that Ryudo is lucky because when he confessed to Runa, she accepted him, something that rarely happens. Because of this, Ryudo realizes that he must continue to cherish the fact that Runa likes him, which is why he searches the entire school to try to make things right with her. When he finds her, he tells her that no matter the problems they faced and will face, what matters to him is the present. And it is in this moment that he wants to keep being with her until the future. Runa is moved by Ryudo's words and doesn't hesitate to get back together with him. Days go by, and in a conversation between our protagonists, it's revealed that Nicole and Shugo are having a good relationship as a couple, spending time together and enjoying good moments. Yusuke, on the other hand, isolates himself at home after being rejected by Akari. Luckily for him, Ren keeps him company because even though he wasn't rejected, the girl he liked, who turns out to be Nicole, is dating someone else, so he is also suffering from heartbreak. But this changes when Shugo decides to break up with Nicole, which leaves her quite upset. Ren doesn't hesitate to take advantage of this moment to try to get closer to her by making jokes, but Nicole reprimands him and gets angry for not respecting her pain. Meanwhile, Ryudo talks to Shugo and asks why he ended his relationship with Nicole. Shugo tells him that he didn't want to be with her anymore because she is too intense and he wouldn't be able to handle it. Since he is studying in college, he doesn't want to jeopardize his studies for a girl. That's why he thought it best to break up, as he believes Nicole is a strong woman who won't hesitate to tell her friends everything to cope with the pain of their breakup. Ironically, when Nicole tries to confide in Runa, it's Runa who ends up venting as she believes her relationship with Ryudo is not going well. Runa starts crying during the call with Nicole, and since both are equally sad, they meet up to give each other a comforting hug and vow to forget about boys forever. As for Ryudo, while he's heading home after school, he runs into Maria on the way. He doesn't hesitate to tell her that they should avoid taking the same train and walking down the same street, as he doesn't want Runa to misunderstand. Maria agrees with him, as she also wants Runa to stop worrying about her relationship with Ryudo, since before wanting to be with him, Maria values her sister's well-being. Hearing this, Ryudo couldn't be happier, as he appreciates that for the first time Maria is on his side, helping him make Runa happy. Suddenly, Ryudo receives a call from his girlfriend, so he answers it. While talking to her, Maria is robbed by a thief, so Ryudo rushes to the rescue, but unfortunately, the police had already handled the situation. Afterward, Ryudo resumes his call with Runa and tells her he wants to talk to her about something important regarding Maria. Runa, for her part, also says she has something important to tell him, but she'll do so tomorrow. The next day, Ryudo wants to speak first and explain why he met with Maria the day before. But before he can, Runa interrupts him to say what she's been thinking for a while. She says we're breaking up, as she wants to end things because she feels insecure about what Ryudo does alone with Maria or what he might think of her based on her past. Ryudo is left completely paralyzed, not knowing what to say, and the two begin to recall all the beautiful moments they shared as a couple. These memories bring Ryudo to tears for the first time, and not wanting to part from Runa for anything in the world, he explains that the reason he met with Maria was to make it clear that he wouldn't see her anymore. In addition to this, he tells Runa that he doesn't want to break up with her because no matter if they make mistakes, the important thing is to grow together and move forward even if there are obstacles. After this, he gives her a strong hug, and she does the same, and after seeing him cry uncontrollably, she apologizes for asking to break up, as she only did it out of her insecurities. She says she doesn't want to end things with him for anything in the world, as she not only likes him a lot, but is completely in love with him. With this, the two reconcile, holding hands and sharing a tender kiss to consolidate their relationship once again. Now Runa is happy again, and her life is back in order, except for one thing: Maria. Runa still hasn't reconciled with her because she doesn't think she can, as neither she nor Maria is willing to take the first step. Ryudo then tells Runa that Maria wants to reconcile with her, but is waiting for her to make the first move. With this in mind, the next day, while Maria is giving her English presentation at school, Runa stands up to applaud her and congratulate her, calling her sister in front of everyone. This makes Maria nervous, so she pulls Runa aside to talk privately. Maria wants to scold her, but then Runa gives her something special that means a lot to both of them. She returns a moon-shaped earring, one that they both used to wear when they were little. After giving it back, Runa hugs Maria and apologizes for not welcoming her as her sister the first time she came to school, letting her know that she still loves her despite all the misunderstandings. Thanks to these words, Maria decides to forgive Runa and also apologizes for her mistakes. Weeks later, Christmas approaches, and our protagonists plan to make that day the most special of all. While the boy intends to get even closer to Runa, she has other plans. She tells him that she's planning to reunite her father and mother with the help of Maria. Runa hopes her boyfriend will be willing to help with this. He, for his part, doesn't hesitate to offer his help as long as it won't be a bother, since he still hasn't met her father. Because of this, our boy can't help but feel very nervous knowing he'll meet Runa's father for the first time, and his anxiety is so great that he practices his greeting with a large Santa Claus statue. On the day of Runa's grand plan to reconcile her parents, the first to arrive are Maria and the girl's mother. Next are Ryudo and Runa, and finally, Runa's father appears. To everyone's surprise, he arrives accompanied by a woman, who is his girlfriend and future wife. When he shares this with everyone, Runa begins to feel faint and can't help but cry because her plan failed completely, as she had no idea her father was already dating someone. As a result, Runa is completely devastated, so Ryudo decides to walk her home. Once they arrive, he intends to leave, but she won't let him, as she wants him to stay with her on this painful night. Ryudo refuses to stay with her, not because he doesn't want to, but because he knows that if he stays, he might lose control. Ironically, it's Runa who crosses the line as she approaches him and asks for a hug, wanting him to stay with her all night. He has no choice but to agree, so he gives her the hug she so desperately seeks. Unfortunately, when Ryudo hugs Runa, she faints, which worries him greatly, so he takes her to her room and resolves to take care of her all night. Thus, the couple spends Christmas Eve sleeping together, and the next day, they exchange gifts. Runa gives the protagonist a bag full of luck charms, carefully chosen to bring him success in all areas of life. He thanks her sincerely for the charms and gets ready to give her his gift. Dressed as Santa Claus, he presents her with a pair of moonstone earrings. She receives them with great enthusiasm, happy to know that he remembered her love for accessories featuring moons. Additionally, Runa is delighted because she feels joyful that Ryudo dressed up as Santa Claus, something her dad used to do. Thanks to this, she realizes that now Ryudo is her Santa Claus, and with that, she lets go of the resentment she held toward her father. The next day, Runa talks to Nicole on the phone, telling her that since Christmas night, she's been wanting to be closer to Ryudo than usual. Nicole is happy for her and lets Runa know that what she's feeling is called love, and it's different from what she experienced with her previous boyfriends. Thanks to these words, Runa is certain that she loves Ryudo with all her heart, and she's ready to do what they've never done before, the forbidden act.